Hello and welcome to the Tea Party Hardy channel for a review of Tesla 2020 release starring Ethan Hawke. Who else, you ask? Well, let's go see. Ethan Hawke plays Nikola Tesla, and Eve Hewson plays Anne Morgan, JP Morgan's daughter. Kyle MacLachlan, rockin', is Thomas Edison. And then we also have Jim Gaffigan playing the role of Mr. Westinghouse, George Westinghouse. And then finally, the last big character in the movie, not necessarily to be confused with big actress, would be JP Morgan, portrayed by a fellow named Donnie Keshawarts. Don't know him. His performance okay. His makeup was, that's not his control. He doesn't do the makeup, I wouldn't guess. But his makeup was by far the most unfamiliar compared to Kyle MacLachlan. Really looks like Edison. Too young for many of the poses they put him in, because this movie likes to put the poses, the historical poses from the photographs, into this scene. Okay, for example, here with Tesla, next to the Tesla coil in Colorado. So if you've seen pictures of Tesla there, it's like, oh, that looks familiar. So they do a lot of that. Alright, so review of the movie. On the technical half, the first half is very different from the second half. The first half of the movie is nightmarishly slow, tremendously boring, and the lighting is really overexposed a lot in the first half. In the second half, I don't know if they got somebody different or what, the lighting becomes very much more period and more effective. And the pace picks up quite a bit, almost exactly in the middle on. Next thing to talk about is from technical issues, and then we'll get into the storyline. The other technical issue, the music that they use in the movie is horrendous. It doesn't match. It's awful in the movie. If you take the tune or the song, whichever the case may be, and you isolate it, maybe it's pretty good. But the way they lined it up, whoever was the music editor for this movie, wow, I understand this movie's experimental. They do a lot of experimentation in this movie. For example, like here's a real set, but there's many times where they're standing in front of a backdrop that is blatantly fake, and they're not pretending that it's not. There's other scenes where they will have rear projection, and they're not hiding that it's rear projection. It's very, what's that word? Kitsch? I don't know. And they take such big experiments in this. They do anachronisms. I don't know why. When you have Edison pull out an iPhone, I don't know what that's about. And it's not the only one. There's a vacuum cleaner that's plugged into the wall. There's the iPhone. There's a few anachronisms, like, what are you doing? I don't get it. And again, it's very independent, and it takes very big experimental leaps. Some people might be into that. That's like, sure, if it works, but no. What's with the iPhone? What's with the vacuum cleaner? The acting by Kyle MacLachlan, as mentioned earlier, he really was good as Edison. And then Jim Gaffigan as Westinghouse, he did a good job with the role. I enjoyed watching him. I don't actually know how Westinghouse's personality or anything was, so I have nothing to compare it to. The only personalities I know Edison's personality, and I know not Westinghouse's, JP Morgan's personality. Because if you've studied that era, they're very rich in it. Tesla. Now, the complaint I would have for Ethan Hawke in this for Tesla is Ethan Hawke is not in any shape or form overweight, but Tesla was very underweight. So he's too big for him physically. I don't care. I'm just pointing out it because MacLachlan really, except for the fact that he's too young, and they powdered his hair and everything to make him look older, but he still wasn't as old as he was. Okay, so the acting by the four I've mentioned, the Ethan Hawke, Anne Morgan, Thomas Edison, and George Westinghouse, the acting in that is great. There's a Russian guy that's a friend of Tesla's. His acting is fantastic too. There's a lady that plays a French actress. She's really, really good. The other people, it's very, very hit or miss. But it really doesn't matter from the point of view of, like, did you make it through the first half? Because holy moly, is it so boring. What if you're in it for the history because you like a biopic, which is why I'm a Tesla fan, plus I like biopics. There's so little amount of history in this movie that it's just go with the documentaries and you can get all the history that's in this, plus it's explained to great detail in a documentary in 45 minutes. If you're watching this for history, good luck trying to squeeze the juice out of it that you're looking for. The apparel, I'm not a specialist on clothes of the era, just from movies and still photographs. All of it seemed to be pretty good to me. I know that, but hey, when you slip in an iPhone, I'm not really sure they care that much about it. Not to mention some of the tunes. I do not recommend this movie. It was really, really hard to get through. It took me 3 or 4 times to make it to the end, just so I could do this review to warn you. I like Ethan Hawke, or I wouldn't have started with it, and I like Tesla, or I wouldn't have started with it. But wow, was it hard to get through. And Kyle MacLachlan playing Edison. If you didn't know, Edison in real life was a massive jerk. The idea that he's a hero, it's like, the only people that think he's a hero are the people that don't know their history about him. He was a total... He stole stuff from people. He bullied people on a regular basis. He was... There's very little redeeming about him. Oh, but he invented so much. Did he invent so much? Or did he have people working for him and he took their patents because they worked for him and that was the deal? They never get into the pigeon thing. And I'm like, are they going to do the pigeon thing? Because the pigeon thing's a big deal to do the pigeon thing. They do not do the pigeon thing. And the Colorado scenes are pretty effective. But if you happen to be lucky enough back in the 90s to see a TV show called Legend that starred the fellow from MacGyver, this was post-MacGyver, I think it was the first thing post-MacGyver, and John Delancey, who played Q in Star Trek, of course. Those two fellows were in it, and Delancey's character was Tesla, though they didn't call him Tesla. He was Tesla. He was in the same workshop, and he was Tesla. There was only a few episodes of it because it got canceled, but God, it was so fun. You get more history out of Legend and Tesla than you do this. So it's painful to watch, even if you like all the actors and everything. If you really like cinema and you like experimental things and you're like, oh, I wonder what they're going to try and do, this is a very good film for that because they really do take a lot of chances. I just don't think they work. But it's up to you. So there's the review. If you want to check it out, go for it. You will not be disappointed in most of the acting. You will not be disappointed in most of the characterizations. The music will probably drive you bonkers if you have any... I'll just leave it at that. And the history... Another experiment they do is Anne Morgan will pop in and out of character and become a narrator. It's really, really weird. And they do it early enough on to show you this movie ain't gonna be normal. I guess that's about it. So I made it through and now I've given you this review to warn you. Good luck if you watch it. Do check out documentaries on him though, because they're worth checking out. And if you can find Legend, I spent the money and got it on DVD. Very disappointed in the quality of the transfer. It's just like one step up of VCR. I'm like, ugh, really guys? I paid real money for this? And whatever. So thanks for watching, and we will see you in the future. The future that Nikola Tesla gave us.